out. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it just is what it is. And by the way, that whole first intro part, my mic was muted, so that was fun. But we're back. So on the screen, they
We're
saw,
back.
yeah, you
Yeah.
saw I
How
was
about
excited.
do the it's been a long time. I shouldn't
Yeah.
have left you without a dope pot. Step two. Instead
Yeah,
of
I
there's your
wouldn't be able to
intro.
do this well. I wouldn't be able to. We'll straight rip off other people's stuff. We really
Hey,
don't care.
all day, all day.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I'm not surprised at all that Nick McMillan. Uh, I guess I'm not surprised, but I don't think he should have been fired.
But we got three teams now that need coaches, right? The Nets,
Yep.
Philly, and now Indiana. And
Yeah.
actually, in Oladipo, though he's been hurt a lot all last year, he just barely got back into the bubble. I mean, like he's not
If
in
I rem
top shape.
Right,
Like
if
he
I
missed a
remember
couple.
correct, he was even saying he was thinking about holding out. He wasn't even
Yeah,
going
he
to
was.
play at one point, and then he
He
came
was, and
in.
he wasn't looking that good. He wasn't looking that good in the bubble. So
Yeah, and TJ Warren like came in the bubble on fire,
no,
and yeah, not so much anymore.
maybe trying to stage up Jimmy Butler. He stepped his game. T.J. Warren stepped his game up to another level there.
Yeah,
He was
yeah.
playing pretty good. He did
Uh,
play good.
yeah, but it's Indiana. Like you weren't championship. You should be happy that you were in the playoffs. I mean,
I
legit.
know.
You
So,
should be
yeah,
happy you were in
that
the
squad
playoffs.
is not that great. They're in
Yeah.
the East. If they're in the West, they wouldn't even be close.
Well, what's funny is they had just kind of like restructured his deal, and now he's out. So
Yeah,
it's
I think another team is going to get pick up Nate McMillan. I think so.
maybe,
I think
yeah.
he'll if he wants to coach, I bet he'll get picked up somewhere. Now, what do you think about Philly though? Because Brett Brown, is that the only thing Philly is gonna do or needs to do in order to improve?
They're screwed
Yeah.
because they gave all that money. I don't have the details right in front of you, but they paid Tobias and they paid Horford, and they were garbage.
Tobias Harris makes more than like Embiid and
Oh
like
well,
he's
yeah,
like
he was a
really
max
high.
contract. He got
Yeah.
like $180 million.
Yeah,
So,
he's the highest paid player on the team, I think.
oh, how does that make you feel, Philly fans? That Horford took them. Boy, he took them for a ride. Like he's
Right.
like, oh yeah, 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 I'll come from Boston. I still got it. I still got it. Nope. And here's the
Well, the
thing.
thing is, it's hard for. I don't know if he can play with both of those other guys on the floor. The problem with Horford, I think he's still got skills that he can lend to the team. But when you got Embiid and Ben Simmons on the team, Tobias Harris is trying to get his game
Yeah,
on.
I think he's
All three of those
washed.
guys on there, I think Horford is just it's like Millsap in Denver. I mean, he has something to offer. He may not be a superstar, and he's probably getting overpaid, but I think he would be able to contribute on another team that had room for him.
I think he's washed. I really do. I think he's washed. Um, but I don't know that they could do anything. They're strapped. They're gonna have to make a trade, and I don't know who wants to pay Tobias Harris max money. That's the reason the Clippers got rid of him to begin with. And then Horford, who wants to have him if he is washed, who wants to give him that kind of money? I think whoever takes over that job is just a gap fill until they have some flexibility. Because why would Ty Lue want to go into that? For instance, say they're interested in Ty Lue. Why would he want to go into that situation and have no flexibility with his roster? You don't have the shooters, and you're going to be really slim off the bench. I think I know Philly fans don't want to hear this, but like I think it's time to move one of the big dogs.
Yeah.
I think you could get a like say Denver for example. What kind of package could Denver put together for Simmons? You could put together a massive package to complement Embiid with getting rid of Simmons and put Simmons on a team where it would be maybe clearly his team.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't know.
I
We'll see.
saw. So I've been watching a couple things, and I was watching The Jump, and was it Richard Jefferson and who was the other person? Kendrick Perkins, and
Mhm.
they were split. Perkins thinks that they should get rid of. It doesn't matter which one. One of them thinks they should get rid of Embiid because even though Embiid has it, it was Scottie Pippen. That's what it is. Scottie Pippen
Mhm.
and Jefferson. Scottie Pippen thinks they should get rid of Embiid because though he has a special skill set, and the way the rest of the team is built and the way the NBA is going, if he's not willing to play, you know, as hard as he can all the time or whatever, it doesn't necessarily translate to wins in this NBA where they're running fast-paced high offenses.
Yeah.
So he thinks that they should trade him, and you can build a team around Ben Simmons because he has more skill sets, especially if he has a jumper. But even if he doesn't, he's still a really good player. Now Jefferson thinks the other way, that Embiid is too special of a player and that they should trade off Ben Simmons. Both of them have injury problems.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
I personally would trade Embiid because his injury problems are worse. But because he's had injury problems, period, since he's been there. Even though Ben Simmons doesn't have a jumper, he can do a lot of stuff, and he doesn't have to play point guard. You know, you can put him somewhere else, and he's got a great penetration in mid-range. Look, not mid-range, like close.
Yeah, well, they need. Yeah, definitely not. It doesn't have any range, but yeah, they definitely need to make a choice there because you're going to be stuck with Tobias Harris and you're stuck with Horford. So you got to make a move elsewhere. But
Embiid looked like he gave up. Like you see those last couple games, that dude wasn't playing at all.
Why would you? I mean, yeah, that was over. It was over. Yeah, there was zero.
Yeah, he had cashed in his chips. He was just ready to leave the bubble. Everything, you know, like.
Yeah,
but you don't want your superstar playing like that, even if the series is tight. You always want him to go in trying to win.
You know, Braun figured that out in Cleveland. You know, like before he went on that run of going to the finals, like he figured out, all right, I'm gonna get my numbers, but this ain't happening. You know what I mean? Like so. But then moving on to some other series. My favorite series so far has been, minus last game, has been the Clippers and the Mavs. Yeah. I am a huge Luka fan. I think he will be an MVP within the next couple of years and probably the face of the league. He's the dagger shot, you know, the game-winning shot. Of course, they lose by like 1 million, you know, last night. But they're actually making that a series, and I believe they could come back and win to force a Game 7. What's your thoughts on this series so far?
I love it because my main issue is the unicorn, right? Old Porzingis.
Yeah.
Like, man, Luka can't do that by himself, and Porzingis their second best scorer. You know what I mean? So the rest of the team is trying their best, but the Clippers have proven if they come on the floor and they're serious and they're playing good basketball, they don't need to play their best basketball. They're playing really good basketball. They're going to beat Dallas. Let's
be real. PG just has to like actually show up, you know?
Yeah, like the first couple of games, he was
playoff
absent.
P.
playoff P. Did you hear him where he was saying that it was like his mind wasn't in it, and it was like he was just kind of off, and his mind and everything just with the first couple of games, and
it's the playoffs, bro. How is your mind not in it? It's the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like, this is like this is what you left yet another team for, was to try to win a championship, and your mind's not in it. I love how after every game when he was shooting like crap, he shows up with a big ice pack on him
on the shoulder. Like,
oh, my shoulders hurt, you know. Oh, really, two for the 9, you know. Yeah, his shoulders really bothering me. But no, if PG shows up and Kawhi's there, the Mavs probably can't win without Porzingis. And they could have won Game 1 if Porzingis had not got baited.
Yeah,
he got baited.
Yeah. They definitely and that was questionable anyway. Pumping your fist in the air and getting technical. I mean, I get you're not supposed to do it, but it's the playoffs, and he's like the like,
well, it's really weird because if you watch a lot of the other games, like I was watching Lakers Portland the other night, and Portland was like screaming at the refs in the first quarter, like every single foul that was called, they were like throwing their hands up and like, what is going on? You know, I'm sure they were using much more colorful language, but screaming at the refs. No text that whole time. And yet, like, you know, they do a little shoving match with Porzingis. Not even a shove, man. He just got in his face, and they booted him out. So they say
you're supposed to get a technical for pumping your fist in the air if it's not in celebration or something like that. Like if you throw your fist in the air or something. Okay. I don't know. It's some weird thing, but it's the playoffs. All right. And we're in the bubble. The man is doing what he can to try. I mean, these teams are competitive. They're all on top of each other inside Disney World. So it's like, give the man a break.
Yeah,
Like it doesn't.
I agree.
that was a tough call.
I agree.
I actually though you mentioned that series. To me, one of the most exciting series, well, just period in the bubble was when Dame Lillard gets hot. I mean,
Oh, Dame is
that guy has been lighting jokers up. And
yeah.
before Kobe night for
Well,
the
he
Lakers,
busted his
and
finger, right?
Dame got hurt in that game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Portland was, giving the Lakers all they had. I mean, they're even CJ had some shining moments, in those
Yeah.
games.
Well,
But I think they're done.
yeah. And if you're watching us right now, feel free to type something in chat, interact with us. We would love to hear from you as well. But yeah, Portland wasted Melo's best effort. I don't think that you're going to get
Yeah,
another game like he had in game 3, I believe it was, or game
yeah,
2 or 3, where he was hitting every shot he
he's
took
on
and like
fire.
he was on fire. I feel like they wasted that game. And then the Lakers kind of finally woke up. They weren't playing real well in the bubble. They didn't really have a reason to. And then after kind of getting smacked in the face in game 1, I think they kind of woke up. And if AD is playing the way AD's been playing and LeBron is doing his thing, then Portland just doesn't have a chance. But it is fun
No.
to watch Dame go off. I think he's actually out tonight. So in my opinion,
Yeah, they're toast.
that series
They're done. They
yeah.
can't win without Dame. That
That
is
was
the
zero
truth.
chance. Zero chance.
Zero chance.
Zero
But and
chance.
you see on Kobe night too. You see LeBron just out of the blue pulled a Dame Lillard just past the
Oh yeah,
logo 3-pointer.
yeah.
Just shook his head like I could do that too.
He does that but he does that when they're up. Like the
That's right.
difference
That's
is
right.
Dame just comes down and like pops it in people's face.
Crunch
Just
time. He's gonna
yeah,
throw
he
the
doesn't he doesn't
LeBron.
care.
No, he don't.
LeBron's
He
like, we're up by like 15, so I'm gonna go ahead and just throw this up and
show you
it'll
I can
go in.
shoot these. It's his
I,
practice at that
yeah,
point.
I love LeBron, but he is the biggest front runner of like all time. Dude. He gets ahead. He's just like, he had that layup where he
Oh
went
yeah,
under, and I was just
it's all
like,
pretty. Then
yeah,
when he's behind,
okay.
it's all business. Like
Yeah.
it's chest passes.
Yeah, I will say that he had there was a sequence in that game where it was like close. Not the game that they blew him out, but the next game. And the Lakers just did not run back on D like 2 times. And I'm like screaming at the screen, like, what are you doing? And even the announcer, I forget who it was like, this is not championship basketball. You can't walk down the court in a playoff game. Like, what are you? And it happened twice because Portland couldn't take advantage. They like threw the ball away. It went back down, Lakers turn it over again, and then don't run back a second time. So
Yeah,
it was terrible. But that series is over. The East is
Portland
kind of
wishes they had Zach Collins back because Whiteside.
yeah. Although
I
he's
mean,
blocking shots, but it's
Whiteside
just
does what he can because he fills the lane, and
mm,
I think he's kind of like a poor man's Dwight Howard. You know how
right.
like you weren't gonna have Dwight Howard shooting jump shots or anything like that, but I saw Whiteside like get a rebound and try to do like a 4-foot floater, and it
Yeah, dude.
it was like, man, no.
It's like anytime Rudy Gobert tries to do something other than dunk the ball, you're
That's
just
right.
like, bro, just block shots and pass and
Yeah,
set
if
screens.
Whiteside just took on like a Ben Wallace attitude where he just was like,
Right.
I'm just gonna muscle you and dunk, man,
Yeah.
or what Dwight Howard did later in his career, just like I'm gonna dunk it, and
I'm
then
sure he's not soft, but he's NBA soft, right? Like
yeah,
he seems like he's kind of questionable.
yeah.
So
On teams that don't matter, I mean teams that don't have a decent big man, Whiteside actually pulls really good numbers. Like if you look at his stats, I mean he's gonna rebound double figures, he's gonna
right.
have some blocks in the game,
And he
but when
played
he's up
well for
against
them before Nurkic came back, right? Like he played
yeah,
pretty good for them.
yeah, but Nurkic is better.
Yeah.
Let's just be
So
real.
if you're watching us right now live on YouTube, go ahead, type something in chat. We'd love to interact with you. You can also follow us on Instagram or Twitter at midrange _game. Throw us your questions there and we'll try to answer them from Twitter as well. Let's see I mean, there's so much to talk about. Although the East Conference, I don't know about you, but it's been kind of garbage, like
Ugh.
playoff wise.
What was that? 3 sweeps in the East. Should have been
Yeah.
4.
Well, the
Milwaukee
Magic got their one, right?
Magic
Yeah.
got the 1. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The East hasn't been. It's not been pretty at all to watch any of those games.
So let's talk about the big news of today then, and that is Boston, Toronto talking about boycotting game 1. What are your I mean, this would be an interesting conversation. There's a lot of social issues that are being discussed right now. And the
Yeah,
players,
yeah,
to their credit, a lot of the players are still talking about them and making sure that people aren't forgetting that they almost didn't even come to the bubble. You remember,
right.
Kyrie got a lot of flack, but he was like, we shouldn't go to the bubble. Players went, but they're like CP3, and after the game the other night, he was talking about the social issues. LeBron sounded off on the social issues, and whether you agree with them or not, on the specifics of it, what do you think about possibly losing playoffs games and the social issues at large? I mean, you as people can see, I'm a middle-aged white guy. You're a middle-aged black guy. Like, what do you think about how this affects everything right now?
I mean, in my lifetime, of course, we haven't seen anything like this. Like when it comes to uh, just the movement of it, the size and the magnitude of it, is this many people and celebrities. And I know some people who don't want to listen to, people say, "Hey, this is happening." Like when Colin Kaepernick took a knee, all
Right.
these people are like, "Yo, that's not happening. How's this guy that makes $10 million a year? We don't even want to listen to him because he's not going through it," and things like that. Um, I think some of those people see it differently now. Not all of them. Not all of them see it differently. But in the end, one, he's not always made 10, $15 million a year. Two, you finally see it on video where there's more people now starting to film some of these things and you actually see it happening.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I just think that I saw Doc Rivers talk yesterday and he was getting emotional and he was saying his father was a policeman as well. So when he speaks out to this, he's not saying that I dislike police, but there's just a fear of when you walk out the door, when you go somewhere, you have to have like I have a son now, he's about to turn 2, but there's going to be a day if things don't change where just like my dad, I'm going to sit him down and
Mm-hmm.
say, "Hey, look, I don't care what your friends are doing. I don't care what other people are doing. This is what you do," and uh, it's just important that these guys do it. How much impact of boycotting an NBA game in the bubble is that going to have? I say the NBA, since they're actually playing sports, have maybe a bigger footprint right now than usual.
Mm-hmm.
But until it happens to football, that's where all the the big decision makers and the guys that a lot of them aren't watching the NBA, and they're just going to ridicule these guys. And they say when it happens to football, and then that's when the
Mm-hmm.
president chimes in, and that's when other people, other billionaires and things chime in. But it's what they can do. They're using what they have
Right.
and trying to make a difference, and I can respect that.
I'll only disagree that it's not a big deal because it's the NBA versus the NFL, because the NBA is the only sport going on right now, really.
Yeah, I mean baseball
Baseball
and
is
hockey,
going
but
on, but
this is yeah.
nobody watches that. So, uh, I agree. I'm sure you've had, conversations with your wife, and I've had conversations with mine. I'm in a interracial relationship, so it's always interesting hearing her perspective on these things. And my kids are obviously mixed. My kids are a little, they look a little whiter, but we still have those same conversations. I I would say I'm proud that they're not losing the message that they're trying to, that they're putting out there.
Yeah,
The
it's still
first
going.
thing that CP3 hit on was not the game; it was pointing a light at, the latest unfortunate incident involving police
Uh,
and a black man. And
yeah,
it's it's sad. It really is
yeah,
sad that we're, even with this movement and the protests and the pandemic and people being at home and people being out of work, you're still seeing these crop up on the daily.
yeah,
And it's like, when will it change? What is going to have to happen in order for there to be change? Because you saw, like, the defund the police or change the structure of how the police are, trained. I think, that's the main
yeah.
thing, is that people don't want to be afraid of the police, because who do you
Right,
call when you're in trouble? You want to be able to trust calling the cops, not
right.
have the cops come and then somebody end up dead.
And like
I
LeBron made a good point about how you don't know how the guy walked out the door. Did he get in an argument with his wife that day? What kind of mental
Right.
thing? Like the level of training they need, because you can tell some of the shootings is actually a policeman who's afraid. Like fear hits him and he reacts because he thinks that this black man in front of him is
Mm-hmm.
going to try to take his life. And so they react before anything actually happens, and they kind of get ahead of it
Mm-hmm.
in some of those instances. And I think some of it is just a little of fear, and it's just a level of training needs to be next level. I mean, it has to be really high. So a lot of psychological stuff they need to regularly have go through. I think that they have to have the ability when a good policeman sees questionable activity from one of his brothers in blue, that they should be able to report it and check each other and report each other without it backlash coming back on them.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a hard one to fix, right? Because
Yeah,
it is the
they got
brotherhood, but
band together, you know, and you get it, but at the same time,
it has to be one of the most stressful occupations.
yeah,
However,
I
there
don't
is
envy them, but
no reason that someone that is unarmed, especially, should ever end up dead in police custody.
yeah,
There's just no reason for that ever to happen. I don't get how that happens unless, like you're saying, there's fear. But
yeah,
if you're fearing someone that is unarmed, that you know is unarmed, then that goes back to a training issue, and then a racial issue, you know, the possibility of it being a racial issue. And
right,
I'm always, and again, I have not had the same life experiences as my wife has had. I have not had the same life experiences as you have had. It just boggles, you know, it boggles my mind that it's still happening. But like you said, you have to listen, you have to hear these stories, and then hopefully enough of them come out that there's real change.
yeah. And I think that's the thing is listening. There's so many people, like our country is so divided, and everybody's trying to make something political.
Mm-hmm.
When, like, I don't care if my son decides to grow up to be whatever political party he wants. To me, it's not political. To me, if you get pulled over, I mean, I see these videos on Facebook now. All these people call it police the police, and they're like, "Oh, well, I don't have to show you my license if you don't specifically suspect me of a crime." And they're
Mm-hmm.
like stating all these statutes to the policeman and arguing with them and saying, you don't have to do this. It's actually illegal for you to approach me.
Mm-hmm.
And my message to my son will be, I don't care if the policeman is in the 100% wrong and shouldn't be asking you any questions. Guess what? You live. You know, I mean, like,
Right.
I mean, that's my, you can battle him on Facebook when you're not in his face, but when you're right in front of them, like
Yeah.
you live.
It makes it hard. It's really hard to just, like, again, anyone regardless of color dying in police custody is, it should just
Yeah,
never
and it's
happen.
not just black people, right? But it's
Right, but when you
disproportionate, right?
show it, yeah, well, I mean, you certainly see it's certainly, like you said, on Facebook, and then somebody will post an interaction with a guy that looks more like me and a cop, and he's being belligerent and going towards the cop and being aggressive, and nothing happens. So,
Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, we could definitely talk about that a ton. But do you think, back bringing it back to our wheelhouse of the NBA? Do you think that Boston and Toronto should boycott, or do you think that they should play the game?
Um,
What would you do if you were in the NBA right now?
if I were one of them, I think boycott is another way that they feel that they can be heard because they're trying everything they know, right? They're wearing t-shirts, they're linking arms and praying before games, they're speaking on it in public and on their social media. And it seems to be that it's individually, each individual NBA player is not making a loud enough thing unless your name's LeBron James or you're a major player, right? Because all these NBA players are doing this, but not all of them have a as big of a platform as some of the bigger superstars. So I
Right.
think for what they're trying to do, the statement they're trying to make is, look at this. I think they're doing it because they don't know what else to do, and
Right.
I can respect that.
Well, I don't want to jump in, but this just came up on ESPN. The Bucks not taking the court for Game 5 versus the Magic.
Oh,
They are not going on the court, and we have a couple of chats. I see what you're saying. The league is going to shut down again. Boycotting games is not the way to go. takes away the player's platform to speak on the issues at hand. I mean, I can certainly see that perspective. Like if they don't play the game, then they don't live on live TV get the chance to voice their opinion. That is, I mean, it's that's coming out right now that the Bucks are not taking the court. So
Right.
there is live boycotting right now. What do you think about that? That the Bucks, who are an NBA title contender, and probably the favorite in the East, are now not going to play this game. Do they forfeit the game? Like, what does the NBA do here?
Right. Well, I mean, if the Magic say that they're going to take the court, I would imagine that the Bucks are forfeiting that game. Now they're up 3-1,
Mm-hmm.
right? So they can afford to do that. Uh, but it's a big deal. I honestly think it's a big deal. I mean, I don't know what the answer is. I don't know what answer is right, but I think that they're still trying. They're looking for ways to draw more attention than just what they've been doing because they feel that uh, it's falling on deaf ears, and so they're trying to make a bigger statement.
Yeah, that's expect us not says not having a game today. That I think that would be a pretty powerful statement. I mean, you think about the social impact, but the financial impact of not playing those games as well for those teams, for the networks. It'll be really interesting to see how the quote unquote powers that be, the NBA front office, I'll be really interested to see how the NBA front office handles this. Um, you have Donovan Mitchell on Twitter right now. We demand change. Salute at the Bucks. You have Jamal Murray. We demand justice on Twitter just now. Kendrick Perkins. Powerful move by the Bucks, but now I'm curious to see what are OKC, Houston, Lakers, and Blazers going to do. Adrian Wojnarowski. Bucks have decided to boycott Game 5. Sources tell ESPN. I mean, this is groundbreaking. This
Yeah,
is I you talk about people taking a knee. This is the players putting their money where their mouth, where their voice is.
I think in a day where these players are more socially conscious. I mean, think of this. Think of back when civil rights were happening, like Bill Russell and maybe one or two other players, if that would actually be vocal about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the rest of the league, you just stepped in line and you did what you're supposed to do because that's what's expected of them. And only a few athletes, black athletes back in the 60s and 70s, were brave enough to step out there and speak,
Mm-hmm.
and some of them had to be so good a player that they could speak and their teams couldn't do anything about it, kind of thing, and they still had to watch their back in cities that they went to and things like that. You look at one or two players in all of sports, Muhammad
Mm-hmm.
Ali, Jim Brown, to a whole league of the players saying this is what we want. It is a different day,
Wow.
and it's inspiring to see. Again, I don't know what will cause what reaction they're looking for, or what will cause the change that they need, what we need. But again, I think they don't know what else to do. I mean, they got Black Lives Matters on the court. They're all wearing sayings on their backs. Their social medias are filled with all
Right.
of the stuff that says we need change, and
Uh,
still you see a lot of people responding negatively to it, saying,
yeah.
there's
Right.
nothing wrong. You guys are
Right.
overreacting, blah blah blah.
But the
So
NBA has handled this movement better than any other league. I think
yeah,
that's
the
without a
NBA is a
doubt. They're
oh
giving
yeah.
the players their voice. They're not standing in front of them saying, no, if you do this, we're going to find you and stuff like that. In fact, they're on the player's side, a predominantly black league. They're on the player's side. I think the big thing for today is, and not to say that what the Bucks are doing is small fries or anything like that, but what's the biggest name in the NBA?
LeBron.
Does LeBron say we're not playing today? I
I
mean,
think
that
that
would be massive.
I think that once one team steps up and it's not LeBron, I think that the ones who feel they're more socially aware and things like, I think that they have to follow suit. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I think that once the Bucks decided, then the
Oh
Lakers
yeah,
at least.
you would look pretty bad if you didn't. But
Yeah, the
we're
Lakers at least.
my man Brent has to go take care of a little one, real life things going on. I appreciate your time, Brent. I appreciate all the people watching right now. If you have something else to say, I'll stick around for a couple minutes and we can talk about it. But Brent, I am so happy to be back on here with you, man. We will
Man,
do this again. If you
yeah, man.
enjoyed it, if you're watching right now, or if you're listening, this will be up on our podcast. We'll throw it wherever you listen, it'll be up there. If you're watching right now, hit subscribe. We will definitely be doing this again at least once a week. But Brent, I appreciate it, man. It's been a lot of fun. It's unfortunately that it's these type of circumstances that the country being divided, which I don't know why you would. You just want people to not die. But uh, yeah, that's all I got to say on it. I appreciate you guys stopping by, and Brent, go take care of your baby, dude.
Oh man. Thanks those who are out there. I don't see as much as Dean on my screen right now, but I know we have a couple people who are chatting it up,
Mm-hmm.
and we appreciate those following, and we'll definitely bring back more. It's going to be an interesting night for
Yes,
the
sir.
NBA. We'll
Yes,
see.
sir.
All right.
I'll
If you're
see you
still
later,
on here
buddy.
when I get back downstairs, we'll see.
Okay. All right. I'll
All
talk
right.
to the couple viewers that we got, man. Go take
All
care of your
right.
girl. All
Later.
right, guys. What do you think, guys? What do you think? Do you think LeBron will come out and actually do? He has to follow suit, right? I can't imagine that LeBron's gonna be like, "Nah, we gotta play, man. We're trying to win a championship." It can't happen, right? Fly, I appreciate the sub, man. That's dope. I really appreciate it. Thank you. We had this thing going for quite a bit. Uh, we were doing not VODs like this, but we were doing podcasts, and then the pandemic hit, and we had to take a break. But fortunately, everybody's healthy, and we're coming back to do it bigger and better than ever. But what do you guys think? I mean, this is I can't, has anything like this ever happened? Kaepernick, started, this kind of movement, and now you see the NBA players kind of taking that next step. Petros, thanks for stopping by. What happened? The Bucks did not come out for the tip. They are boycotting the game. Boston and Toronto had discussions about, jointly boycotting the game, but it looks like the Bucks did not come out on the court, and they're not going to play. And why go backwards now? Well, I don't know that they're going backwards. I think that they're doing what they think is best. They're trying to bring as much attention. I mean, you gotta imagine this. Them boycotting this game is going to be everywhere. This is going to be on every major newscast, and the players will get. Reporters are going to reach out, and the players will have live time to talk about the social issues with just another shooting happened another day. The was it yesterday, another shooting. Um, so yeah, I don't know that they're going backwards. I think they're saying, look, we are entertainers. Athletes are entertainers, right? And they're using that platform to say we have to stand united that these type of things have got to stop. I think so. I'm not sure it's going backwards. I don't know, Brett. You're back. I'm glad Brett is back. What do you
Only
think,
for a
buddy?
hot second.
A hot second back.
Yeah. So what were you talking about? You think it's going backwards?
No, I'm just looking at chat. Fly Rye. I hope I'm saying that right. He was just asking, a couple of players didn't want to play before the bubble, but then they decided to play. And why he's saying why would they want to go backwards? And I was saying I'm not sure it's backwards. I mean, that's a bold statement to say, enough. We're not going to play this game.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I think I don't know if it's backwards. I think that it's a progression, right? It's very similar to what we thought would happen in the bubble. Is that you finally got everybody together, and everybody thought, what if the coronavirus gets worse while we're
Right.
there and it starts happening. I think it's a very similar thing. It's like a virus. It had settled down a little bit after George Floyd. Not a lot, but it still had settled down a little bit. The
Hmm.
NBA got together, and then something else happened, and something else happened, and it's getting national news. It's the
Yeah.
last one where the guy gets shot in the back 7 times.
Right.
That's crazy. You know what I mean? With his kids in the car. I mean, if you put yourself in that family's shoes, I think that's what like as black men, that's what I think when I see that guy get shot. You see that could be me. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like I may react a little differently than the young man, but at the same time, uh, he was probably viewed as a threat. There's a lot of police there, and all kinds of stories happening that they say that the call happened and he actually broke up the fight that they got called there for, and then they started questioning him. There's all kinds of different things that are going around that
Right.
what
I mean,
may or
I'm
may not
sure.
be true.
Right. Exactly. Right. When these things happen, you always kind of want to have to. It's like it's tragic. Obviously, you want some facts to come out so you know exactly what happened. But
Right.
it goes back to what we said before. No one should die in police custody or
Yeah.
around police, especially if they're unarmed. Like, there's no reason for that to happen. But
Yeah.
another comment by FlyRye, he asked, "Do you think that the playoffs will get finished?"
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
I think they'll finish. The commissioners already come out. Remember, they were going to start the new season like December 1st or something like that. And
Right.
Adam Silver's already come out and said they can see now, even though the bubble games are on schedule, that
Mm-hmm.
that's too close.
Right.
That starting the league on December 1st, regular season for this next season, is too soon
Mm-hmm.
as to when this is. Now, this may postpone it. Like if all the teams say we're boycotting, then you can't. I mean, that's both teams forfeiting. Are you who you give the game to, right? So that means you're postponing
Right.
the second round, first round of the playoffs. The end of the first round. So
Right.
uh, that's going to offset some of the schedules and what's going to happen going forward.
If I had to guess, I would say there won't be games today, and the NBA will kind of like take a deep breath and maybe give the players a couple days and then
Yeah,
try to see if the teams are willing to continue to play.
yeah,
But he's right. I mean, this could be the end of the playoffs. And
that's
he
true.
also he also said he's from England. Oh, we got our first international.
Hey,
Hey,
across
I
the
like it.
pond.
Yeah, I like it. He said, criminal with a knife, they disarm and restrain him. We don't have these issues as bad. So it's sad to say this. Yeah, it really is sad. You're right. I mean, obviously, there's different laws and as far as like weapons. I know you don't have as many firearms over there,
Right.
but oh,
America's love guns.
did we got another international from Greece, Petros? Why are
Hey.
police trigger happy in the U.S.? I mean, that's the whole issue, right? That's the whole issue. Why are police killing people of color? They kill people that are white as well, but at an alarming rate. It seems like they're killing people that look more like my friend Brent than they kill people that look
Yeah.
like me, and that goes to a race issue. I mean,
And
you
we
can't say
incarcerate more people in the world. I mean, like
right.
way more. We have
Yeah,
more people in jail than some countries have as citizens.
right.
You know,
And
so it's like,
well, and I know that we are basketball centric, but this has to be discussed because it's affecting the NBA. I mean, Brent and I have had these conversations just going out to lunch. We've talked about it before, but we usually stay on track within the circle of the NBA. We try
right,
not to
right.
get too political, partly because of what our wives do for a living, but they'll get mad at us. But no, this has to be talked about. I think because the NBA is now affecting that conversation, right? They're
Yeah.
they're in that conversation now.
And I think that's the one good thing about the platform. Like I said, it's not just one or two players. Essentially, the players are going to turn the NBA into a civil rights like organization because
Hmm.
the NBA doesn't really have a choice. The players are the NBA. The NBA is the one league that is set up to where the players essentially come first. They have more power in the NBA than they have in any other league. Just imagine, remember when the NFL, when they said Colin Kaepernick was going to take a knee, how
Mhm.
many owners were like, I'm going to fire these guys. I'm going to do that. I mean, they like those owners flexed their muscles and said, we're going to put our foot down on these players and they're going to have to comply. Where the NBA doesn't really do that to their players. So
Mhm.
I think the billionaires that are the owners and everybody is going to have to start using these resources to affect better change. And the thing is, change like this doesn't happen overnight. You're not going to see a boycott NBA and then tomorrow a better day. You know what I mean? Like this is going to take step by step, quite a while, city by city, state by state, little things here and there that's going to have to change. But again, I really do have to go this time, so I'm actually going to
Okay.
log off.
All right. Well, again, Brent, thank you again. And to everybody that's watching us, hit the subscribe button. We're going to be back at it again, hopefully another time this week, but definitely next week. We'll be live. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. You can see it up there. I am Dean. That is Brent. We are Mid Range Game.